This is a battle in the blue tournament, round 2. We have Chosen Way commanding Getae and uldaCZ, no idea, commanding Arverni. Bitva u Pyramidi. So this is Arverni and Bitva u Pyramidi, Getae, Polish. For Arverni, we have 4 heavy horse, then we have 3 naked warriors, interesting choice. Bunch of chosen swordsmen, an oath sworn, 3 oath sworn, and only 2 chosen in this battle. For skirmishing, we have 3 Celtic slingers. For the Getae, we have 4 noble swords, mercenary axe, noble horse, spears on the flanks, 3 bow horsemen, and 3 dash and heavy bows, or maybe just 2 dash and heavy bows. Probably an axe unit here or something like that. So, decent enough map for skirmishing as long as Arverni doesn't stay in this forest here. But Arverni doesn't have anything to engage with, so Getae could potentially stay in these. This is actually counts as a forest, so Getae could potentially skirmish from the forest. These are folksmen, so in terms of infantry, it's just no contest. The infantry of Arverni is going to stomp all over the infantry of the Getae if they get good charges. In terms of cavalry, slight advantage to Arverni actually, because the spear horse are not as good as the spear horse are good units, but they're not as good as heavy horse. But then there's this noble horse general that could, or not a general, but this noble horse for Getae that could potentially do a lot of damage, especially to these naked warriors. But they are being protected by Celtic slingers and levy freemen, also for heavy horse, so it's probably going to be difficult to get at these units. The dash and heavy bows are content to stay at range for the time being. They could also do a lot of damage to the naked warriors, but it's not really great for them to be trading against Celtic slingers. Still, dash and heavy bows are super cheap for their armor and their range. They are very, very good units. The bow horse just circling around Arverni trying to get an angle, but Arverni is of course using their MLG freeman to screen away the bow horse. And this is a hot map, so the bow horse is going to fatigue quickly if it keeps running like this. And firing into the forest at levy freeman is probably the worst use of missiles that you can have. You do not want to engage levy freeman in a forest with the horse archers. Probably a good idea to save them a bit for the late game, to go snipe at targets of opportunity when things are a bit more when the engagement are happening. So looks like Arverni is making the first push here, using the levy freeman as a screen for these very fragile naked warriors. The dash and heavy bows are going to first fire a few shots, fire at will on, I assume, and then they're going to move up and start firing at the naked warriors. And look at the naked warriors, just 5 men dead from a single volley. They cannot take missile fire very well at all. The naked warriors are just dropping like crazy, but even very depleted, these units can be super dangerous when they hit enemy infantry units. But I don't like that they're being sent out like this, completely unsupported. They're just getting absolutely destroyed by these 2 archer units. Here comes the noble horsemen. They did eat a lot of javelins, and they were stopped by their own unit, so frontal YOLO when units are standing still doesn't really work that well. Here we have the spears being attacked by heavy horse, and spears do not have javelins, so they are not as good as levy freemen in any way. Here the levy freemen are getting wrecked, but this noble horseman just off the field. Getae is not getting, well, now they're getting charges, but overall no real good response here from Getae from these charges. And it started out great for Getae, but now it's not so good. These dash and heavy bows could potentially snipe the oath sword, but they're firing into the blob of levy freemen, I believe. Yeah, they're not even firing at the Levy Freeman. So a huge miss micro here, and the Spear Horse just get attacked by. They did manage to get into the Celtic Slingers, but then they get attacked by Heavy Horse and Levy Freeman, so they're dead. Now finally firing coming against the Old Sword. The Noble Sword General is doing fine. He hasn't taken much damage, but he is pulling away from the Old Sword, and the Old Sword could potentially charge him in the rear now if he's not careful. He needs to turn around right now. No, he's getting the penalty from being attacked in the rear, but the Old Sword are actually taking a lot of damage here. And this was the plan, sending in the Noble Swords here to attack. But this means that the Noble Swords are going to get attacked by some cavalry units over here. But no matter, because these Noble Swords rush in to save the day, and they're going to do a lot of damage to the Old Sword. We have Relentless being popped by the working Getae General. Heavy Horse crashing into the center of the Dashing Bows, but the Dashing Bows have gotten a lot of important kills. Spear Horse running in and getting a great charge against the Heavy Horse of Arverni. And these Folksmen are dying to Naked Warriors. Overall, Arverni has a lot left on the field, and Getae wasted one of their most important units. But the Old Sword General of Arverni is not doing great in the center here. He's fighting up against Noble Swords, and the Noble Swords are going to be able to defeat him. But the Noble Swords glitched out. They had the shield wall glitch in effect. Now they're being turned around and attacking, but for a long time they were not engaging effectively here because of the shield wall glitch, so that is potentially massive. Always a good idea to click an attack order after you have activated shield wall. Spear Horse getting caught over here. In the center, things are not looking great for Getae, because the Noble Swords are getting fired upon by Celtic Slingers. There are Naked Warriors in these engagements, and the Naked Warriors are going to do a lot of damage. Although they are, of course, losing to these Noble Swords, the Noble Swords did get attacked in the rear. And let's see if they're glitching out as well with the shield wall. No, just a straight up rear charge there. So a lot of Arverni left on the field, not a whole lot of Getae. Both generals might die, but it looks like the Old Sword General of the Old Sword General here is going to rout off the field before the Getae General. But the problem is that there just isn't a lot left on the field for Getae now, and the Arverni units are able to move in and basically destroy what's left of Getae at will in this blob. The Noble Swords didn't get great charges. Messy engagement. The frontal cavalry charge wasn't set up properly because the units were standing in its way, and you can see the Noble Horsemen were absolutely wasted. The Dash and Heavy Bows did okay for way there, but in the beginning at least. But then these Heavy Horse just came in and wrecked everything. And look at the nice kills from the Levy Freeman. Like these guys, the Kardashian Spears wish they were Levy Freeman. Kind of an unorthodox Arverni build, 2 Chosen, 3 Oathsworn, but against the Getae, you know you're not going to be to have to fight any really good mid-tier swords, so I guess it can work, but Getae here did way too many mistakes for this build to be able to work. Only 4 good melee units. These units are more supporting melee units, so Getae does have a hard time up against Arverni. Maybe go a bit harder on the skirmishers, but then again, you have these Heavy Horse to contend with, and getting the Heavy Horse off the field or damaging them a lot with Bow Horse could have been super important. But Getae just didn't have the infantry to take on these units, especially when the Naked Warriors weren't completely neutralized, and the Chosen Swords were very dangerous on the flanks in taking care of these units that were there, and Spear Horse just cannot contend with the Heavy Horse and Levy Freeman. So, good game to both players. Good luck in the coming rounds of the tournament to uldaCZ. uldaCZ, maybe, no idea. Strength and honor.